thank you, Anthony Browder, for coming to see us and blessing Black Eyes TV. My question is, we know according to Kemetic science, the heart was a central point for them when it came to the weighing of the heart ceremony and whatever. But what is the significance of that stela to us today? When we look at the weighing of the heart ceremony and that whole end of life, what you're supposed to do, how you lived, talk about the relevance to black people today, because we've seen it bantered around in certain circles and talked about, it's widely known, but what is the true relevance of it when we look at it in this day and age?
Sure, okay, appreciate your question, brother. So within the ancient Kemetic lifestyle, their spiritual traditions, they considered the heart as the seat of the soul, which is why when they mummified a body, the heart was the only organ that was kept in the body, because the heart was an essential instrument that was going to be crucial to us making the moving from one stage of life to the next stage of life. So the reference, the scene that you're talking about is the scene that's often referred to as the weighing of the soul, where the soul of the deceased is led into the hall of the double aspects of mind, who represents the principles of truth, justice, righteousness, balance, harmony, order, and reciprocity. And as they are led into the hall of mind, the crucial image that is seen is the scale, which is referred to as the scale of eye. And on the left side of the balance, you find the heart of the deceased. And typically, in many of the images, you'll see Impu, who is the person who leads the soul of that person into the hall of mind. You'll see Impu adjusting the balance so that it can give a fair and accurate reading. Then on the other side of the balance, on the right side of the balance, you see the feather, which is a symbol associated with mind. It represents all the principles associated with mind. And so at that critical point in the evaluation of a person's life, their soul has to recite the 42 admonitions of mind, the 42 declarations of innocence. I have not defrauded offerings. I have not spoken ill against the Creator. I have not polluted myself. I have not polluted the land. I have not committed murder. I have not committed adultery. And those of us who are familiar with Christianity will recognize within the 42 admonitions of the 10 commandments. And so one of the things that we have to be clear of is that prior to the people who classify themselves as the Jews coming into Kemet, they didn't have 10 commandments. And there's a profound difference between a commandment and a declaration of innocence. A commandment is something that you give to someone who is ignorant. They have to be commanded what not to do. A declaration of innocence is something that a person declares because they've been trained all of their lives to know that it is wrong to kill. It is wrong to commit adultery. It is wrong to do these things. The people who are one step above a barbarian have to be commanded not to kill somebody, have to be commanded not to commit adultery. So there's a profound, personal, spiritual, and cultural difference between people who adhere to commandments and people who follow declarations of innocence. So the idea is that when one declares their innocence and they are found ma'keru, or true of voice, that it means that the scales are balanced. It means that the heart is literally as light as a feather. That's where the concept comes from. It means that the person has lived their life in harmony with the principles of Ma'at. And they then are led by Heru, the son of Asar and Aset. And if you follow that scene out, that vignette out with the way of the soul, you will then see Heru leading the soul, the vindicated soul, to his father who is sitting on the throne of judgment. So we have Asar, who is the Lord of resurrection, sitting on the throne of judgment. Asar, the Lord of judgment and the Lord of the afterlife. Asar, the first person in recorded history who died and was resurrected. That's 4,000 years. He's 4,000 years before this other fellow died and resurrected. Right? Context is everything. Context is everything. But the other important thing about this scene is Heru leads the soul to his father, which should make any Christian Recall the phrase in the Bible, John 4:6, I believe it is, none comes to the Father except through me.
Yeah.
So what you will find is that many of the stories that are in the Bible were derived from stories that were written in the book of Coming Forth by Day.
Yes.
Thousands of years earlier. Thousands of years earlier. And so this idea of the heart and the weighing of the soul is an idea in which the soul of a person has the opportunity to demonstrate the lessons that were taught to them throughout their lives. You should live your life according to these principles, so that on the day of judgment, you will be found to be a true voice and can reap your reward in the afterlife. Now, the other part of that I understand now better than I did 25 years ago when I wrote the book. I now understand very clearly that no human being can live up to the 42 admonitions of Allah. Nobody could. So it was a goal to achieve. But you strive to achieve that goal with the knowledge that most people aren't going to be able to accomplish it. But you don't give up the goal. Yeah. And the other important fact that I now understand better today than I did just 3 years ago is that those ancestors who wrote those texts, the book Coming Forth by Day, who created the tombs and the temples, who created those vignettes, created those images, they knew that there was no death. They knew that. They knew that life was eternal. They had a concept, term for called Rahim Misu, which means the repetition of the birth. We are continually reborn. They understood that the quality of our next life is determined by the quality of this life. And so if you've got the principles of Ma'at as your guide, and you can adhere to as many of those 42 principles as possible, it means that when you come back, you will have a better quality of life. So if you understand that philosophically there, when you look at brothers and sisters today who are struggling, trying to make it, then what that tells me is that they are people who in the previous weighing of the soul probably could only truthfully speak to maybe 4 or 5 of those declarations. They didn't learn the lesson the last lifetime, so they got to learn it harder this time. And the idea is, if they strive to perfect living this time around, then next time around, they'll be a little bit higher. We only have the rest of our lives to get it right. Understand me, we only have the rest of our lives to get it right. So the sooner you realize that's the equation, then the sooner you can begin to make it right. And then connect with other people who are making it right and create more rightness together, which improves the likelihood for more people getting it right in the future. Does that make sense? Okay. Brother, your question.
I was going to ask a particular question, but from your answer now, I'm going to change my question.
Okay.
Okay. What you've just said suggests, of course, that people who are experiencing great difficulties now have had committed offenses or not lived satisfactory lives in a previous existence. Right. Right. Okay. Most of the people in the world today who are suffering very, very badly are black people at the hands of the Europeans. Mm-hmm. What you've just said would then suggest that in the past, black people have then not lived proper lives. That's why we're suffering today. Mm-hmm. Do you accept that?
Oh yeah, and I can elaborate if you like to.
Please, yes.
All right, so let's get back to it. We know that Africans were the first human beings on the planet. Yeah. We know, based on current scientific evidence, that Homo sapiens sapiens has been living on the planet for at least 200,000 years. We know, based on the latest genetic evidence, that the people classified as Caucasian genetically mutated from Africans 8,000 to 7,000 years ago, which means that Africans have a 192,000 year head start. So we've been around here a long time, which has given us plenty of opportunities to master this thing called life. And when we look at the civilization of Kemet, we see Kemet and recognize Kemet as the oldest documented civilization on the face of this planet. The Africans, 6,000 years ago, were able to create things that human beings today, with all their technological advances, can't replicate today. So we were at the top. So for us to be suffering now all over the world meant that we did something wrong. Right? We messed up. What did we do? How do we lose this connection with the Creator? So that's the question for us to ask. How do we open the door to allow these barbarians to come in and take everything away from us? And then use our own creations against us. Take our concepts of God and give them back to us as these religions and have us worship their gods to our own detriment. What lessons can we learn from that? See, so we're at a very critical point in our advancement. And I was talking to my sister in the back earlier, Katrina. We were talking about the cycles, right? Everything follows cycles, right? So if Africans were at the top of the cycle at one point in time, and now we find ourselves at the bottom, then what that means is that we're starting to swing up now. Correct. Right? We're starting to swing up. So as we swing up, then let us not make the mistakes that we made in the past. All right? So that on this upswing, we can have a better quality of life. That quality of life can last longer than it did before. But let's also, as we move up, know that at some point in time, we're going to reach the precipice, and then things are going to start moving back down again. That's the cycle of life. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. So if you know that, if you recognize that, if you live by that, then it means that you're prepared for everything that comes. The successes and the failures. One of the things that I learned from my Jacob John Henry Clark is that all history is a current event. History repeats itself over and over again. So if you understand the patterns and the cycles of history, then it's simply a matter of stepping back and seeing where you are in that cycle. You understand clearly what you've come from. You understand even more clearly where you're going. So you know how to position yourself to maximize your time and your energy, the use of your energy as you move into this new space. So the challenge for us, the opportunity for us now is to move into this new space with a greater awareness of our past so that we can make fewer mistakes. So we can maximize everything that's coming our way. I also know that the reign of the European is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. And that they are going to have to pay for all the evil that they've done all around the world. So, as the playing field is leveled, as they begin fighting for their lives, that gives us a little bit of freedom now because their feet are off of our backs. So what are we going to do now with this extra time we have? What are we going to do now with these extra opportunities we have now to improve our qualities of life? What lessons have we learned from the past that will allow us to move forward into the future as our own creators of our future? That's the challenge. That's the opportunity. That's a wonderful opportunity that awaits us now. So if we are willing to live up to those things that we say we believe in the ancestors, we say we believe in all these things, we'll put it to practice. Now's the time to put it to practice.
Take responsibility.
All right? Talk is cheap. Yeah. Talk is cheap. It's what you do. That's the only thing that matters, what you do. So we spend less time talking and more time doing, and we'll be able to reap the fruits of our labor from doing things correctly. Make sense?
Yes, but this suggests that there's inevitability in what happens, because if it's a cycle, what goes around comes around.
Exactly.
Astrologers are saying, about Sirius and its nearness to the sun and how it's influencing people's behavior here on Earth and gear changing and all kind of different things like that. Yeah, how it will affect human beings' behavior, relationships with each other, and what have you. So if it's that inevitable, how much of an input do we really have?
All right, let's look at it this way. Prior to coming over here, I checked the weather forecast and saw it was going to be sunny in the 70s and 80s. It was going to be cool at night, and it was going to be raining Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So with that forecast of what was coming, I was able to pack appropriately. So if we know all of these things are going to be happening in the universe and all of these things are headed our way, how will we prepare ourselves for what we know is coming? Not what we believe, but what we know. Knowledge cancels out belief. So it's all about application of knowledge. And Brother Sesso, you wanna get in the last question. All right.
No, I'm not seeking the last one. Absolutely not.
Well,
But just,
no. Well, Sister, just
yeah.
You want to take this mic and go.
Yeah. No,
This is the last question.
what was supposed to be 20 minutes has now become an hour.
It's okay.
No. That's the last one. Yeah,
It's just that on the cyclical theory, where is the evidence that Africans are now on the upswing rather than the considerable evidence that we're continuing to be pushed down?
Okay, good question. Where's the evidence that we're on the upswing? The fact that I'm here. The fact that I'm here. The fact that you are here. The fact that you don't have a jerry curl. The fact that you are not exhibiting behavior of crazy Negroes out in the street. We've always dealt with craziness, right? And we've always had people who are striving to improve their quality of life. So what you are going to see, as the quality of life for Europeans begins to diminish, you're going to see more African people with consciousness taking advantage of these opportunities and move forward like never before. You're also going to see more African people going down with the Europeans because of their belief in the European, right? So this ain't a theory, brother, this is a fact. And if we're conscious, again, following Dr. Clark's understanding, his observation that all history is a current event. All you have to do is study history and the patterns and cycles in history. And coming from the United States, what I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the current president of the United States is proof positive that this is the Europeans' last stance. It's proof positive that this is the Europeans' last stance. This person whose name I refuse to say is the dumbest president in history. And that European leaders are afraid of the world he's creating for them. Right? So I know that the United States is on its last leg. Knowing that means that it's important for me to position myself and develop other options so that when that ship goes down, I don't go down with the ship. And I also know that the vast majority of people who look like me back home are going down with the ship because they don't believe in their inherent right to self-determination. They believe in the master. So they're going down with the master, so be it. So be it. But at the same time, I know that as this cycle continues to play itself out, if we do our job correctly, and if we align ourselves with the best of what our ancestors have to teach us, then it means we can avoid a lot of critical mistakes, and we can position ourselves to have a better quality of life in the lifetimes to come. That's what drives me, that's what motivates me. And until I find a better way, this is the way that I'm moving. All right.
Okay.